Well, hello, and welcome back to the You Deserve Better podcast. And ladies, I've got something to admit. I've got to share this. I made a boo-boo on my healing journey. I made a boo-boo, and I've got to be honest about it. I didn't expect to ever have to talk about these mistakes that I am making, but they're still happening. Yeah, they're still happening. So this is me just putting it out there, being real with you all that, and I know I say it all the time and I know that you believe it, but honestly, I am not perfect. Yeah, I drop my boundaries. I make mistakes. I say yes when I should say no. I give my energy to people that quite frankly don't deserve it. I'm still working on that. So just as long as you understand that, and I hope you appreciate this message and it helps you see that it's just a forever learning journey, and that's okay and that's beautiful. And no matter what, even with my boo-boo, I'm actually super, super proud of myself and everything that it's taught me. So yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today, because I know, hand on heart, I am not the only woman who does this. This probably won't be the last time that something along these lines happens, but at least I am aware of it and I'm able to correct myself. And now I just need to get better in the moment. If you listen to my recent episode about 99% of overthinking, I forgot what I called it now, but it was about the one where someone told me that they didn't recognise me with a smile, and I overthought the shit out of that and eventually just messaged her and asked her what I feel. It is basically similar to that. I'm still learning and now I'm just learning to apply it in the moment rather than all this reflecting bullshit, quite frankly. But I want to talk about this for a moment, because in this moment I said yes to something when every part of me really meant no. And so this is what happened. And to be honest, it's actually something really, really small, but it made me question everything. You know what I'm like. I am a questioner. I'm so self-aware, and I'll get onto one thing and it opens up a whole can of worms. But that's what I love about this journey, this growth of self-development, this healing, spiritual awakening journey. It's ongoing. We're constantly questioning everything, our behaviour, our thoughts, feelings, our interactions, things like that. But anyway, this guy at the gym, we've chatted before, maybe, several times actually. Let's say it's a 5-week period. Maybe we've spoke like 3 to 4 times in the gym, okay? Nothing deep whatsoever, just general chit chat. Absolutely nothing flirty whatsoever, okay? Just the usual, hey, how's your day? How's your training? All that. And then this one day, it was a Friday morning, I was at the gym and he came up to me, usual chit chat, and then he actually asked if I wanted to grab a coffee sometime, whether I'd be interested to grab a coffee. So in that moment, I was like, yeah, sure. I gave him my number, just like that. And then just carried on with my training. He went off and he did his thing, I did mine. And here's the thing here. Listen carefully to this, because this is important. I wasn't interested at all. Let me repeat that. I wasn't interested at all. I said yes to a coffee. I gave him my number. Wasn't even interested. After it happened, and just carried on with my workout, and he went off and did his thing, and I didn't really think much of it. And then it was later on when I got home from the gym, I just thought, what the fuck was that, Rebecca? Like, what the fuck was that? You've now opened something up. You've opened yourself up to something now. Like, what have you done? Why would you do that? Why would you say yes when you're not interested? And really, I kind of just felt in that moment that once again, I've abandoned myself just a little bit. But I've abandoned myself to appease someone else out of fear, out of just not being comfortable to say, no, thank you. Which, by the way, I can't remember what episode it was, but I was thinking to myself, like, it will have been over a year ago. I had a similar situation where there was a guy I got on really well with, chatted, just general chit chat, and then he actually asked for my number, and I very confidently and comfortably said to him, no, I'm not interested. So then I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, you've gone backwards. Last year, you was able to say no to someone quite confidently, quite calmly, with kindness and intention, and no drama. So why now was I not able to? I felt like I'd gone backwards, and I was asking myself, why did I say yes? Why did I just hand over my number? Why did I say yes just without even a second thought, even knowing full well that I wanted to say no? And I traced it all back to this one feeling. And that was, well, there was a few, but a lot of it was, I just didn't want to seem rude. I didn't want to seem, harsh or like a bad person. And this is the key part here, and I think this is why it was so different than the last time when I compared the two, was that in this situation, I didn't want to think that I'd led him on, because I'd complimented him once. When we first had our interaction, I'd had to just give him a very polite compliment, not flirty in any way. I was just made a nice comment to him, didn't think anything of it, just carried on. But then, thinking back to everything in this scenario, it was like, have I led him on here? Have I gave the wrong impression? So then I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to be that girl that then turns around and says no and does the friend zoning. And I'm going to be honest here, it took me a further week, one whole week, to finally actually send a message saying that I wasn't even interested. It took a full 7 days, or 8 in total to be precise, of overthinking something that should have actually just taken a couple of seconds. I'm laughing about it because it's funny, and obviously the whole situation has since been resolved, but I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? None of this was necessary whatsoever. How many of you can relate to this so far? I'm genuinely curious to know. Upon thinking about all this, by the way, before we even got to that point of me sending that message, to finally speak my truth, I realised to myself that it was never about the coffee date. It wasn't about him asking me for a coffee. It wasn't about him asking for my number. It was this conditioning. It was all about this conditioning. The people pleasing, the old patterns of just being overly accommodating and looking after others and putting others first. These little leaks in my boundaries that I don't even see happening. But they're just constantly occurring. And you know what, honest to gosh, it reminded me, it honestly took me back to all those times in my 20s and in early 30s as well, post-divorce, where I said yes to men because I thought I owed them something. I felt like I owed them something because they were nice or insistent and really overly keen and giving me all this affection. Or maybe it's because I'd given them attention. We'd had a really nice interaction and I'd been laughing and giggling and maybe a little bit flirty. Or maybe it's because I just didn't want to be difficult. I just wanted an easy life, and to avoid any drama or chaos, I just wanted peace. And when I say that the times that I said yes to men, I'm literally talking to the extent of actually sleeping with a guy, because I felt that it had gotten too far by this point and I couldn't turn around and say no. How many of you can relate to this? How many of you, because I'm telling you now, if I was to think back of the amount, well, this sounds really bad, but the amount of guys that I've slept with because I didn't feel like I could say no. It had just gotten too far. And that's on me. That is on me as well. But honestly, this is what kind of broke me. This is what kind of broke my heart a little bit in a way, because I thought to myself, in this particular situation, I'm thinking, I have done so much work on myself. I've gotten myself to this particular place that I'm so proud of. And yet, here I am again in this teeny tiny moment, but very significant still. And it's showing me quite clearly how this healing journey is just not linear at all, is it? There's this saying, sometimes it whispers before it screams, because I could have just carried on with that. But deep down, my intuition, my gut, my soul was saying, just fucking tell the truth. Like, why are you going along with this? What are you playing at? She whispers before she screams. But to turn this all around, the positive spin on it, the beautiful part is I caught it. Yeah, slightly delayed. I should have just said no at the time and been really nice about it, but still said no and, valued myself in that moment. But at least I did catch it. Whether delayed or not, same as the overthinking situation with the woman who made the comment to me. It was still there. So I caught myself in that pattern. Okay? I caught myself. I was aware of it. And then I kind of honoured it, I validated it, I could understand where it came from. So I owned it, I owned my shit, yeah? And then I corrected it, which again, it took me way too long and a lot of overthinking and, shall we just see, or maybe not, or the conversation's flowing nicely, so maybe not today, I'll do it tomorrow. As though somehow, the conversation will nicely flow into that I'm not interested, which it never did, by the way. But eventually I did correct it, and I just sent him a really kind, honest and straightforward message saying that I'm not openly available for anything further, and that I actually made a mistake in saying yes so soon without properly thinking. And the relief that I felt simply from sending that, oh my gosh, it was like a weight off my shoulders. It was this real peace in my heart, the feeling of being so proud of yourself for sending something like that. And do you know what made it even better is that his response was so beautiful as well. And this is the thing, sometimes the scary things to do, sometimes there's some of the scary things that we have to do, they can surprise us, can't they? So in this lesson, not only did I have to step up and step out of my comfort zone and be honest and vulnerable and speak the damn truth and potentially fear the comeback from that, but actually it was nowhere, there was nothing to worry about. There was nothing to worry about at all. It was as though in that moment, regardless of his response, to be honest, in that moment, there was this instant alignment, as though my soul was like, yeah girl, well freaking done, you did it, unlocked level whatever of the healing journey, you've made it. Yeah, it felt good, and I was so proud of myself. And this is what I'm trying to do more. I've only just started this. I'm taking a real step back with these podcasts in a place of less about learnings and teachings and more about my own experiences and how they've shaped me. Because sometimes I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and please, I always value your feedback and honest opinions and things like that. So please feel free to share. But sometimes I believe that people want to see you where you're at. I'm not some guru that never makes mistakes and is all healed and love and light. I fuck up too. I'm still healing too. I'm still on my own journey. And we can all learn from each other. I don't pretend to be some sort of expert. I'm literally just here to help, support, guide, and lead people through where they are at. So I am sort of shifting my episodes a bit more, where it's not necessarily all going to be about breakups and healing, but it could just be general day-to-day life and epiphanies and downloads and things like that. So let me know your thoughts and feelings on that firstly, but also, especially with this one, because it still does relate very much to the brand, doesn't it? And it all ties in at the end of the day to self-love, yeah? And this entire journey that we're on. I hope that this experience that I've shared here helps you question things a little bit more as well about what you're saying yes to when you mean no, or what you're frightened of speaking up for or asking for, or where you're dimming your light literally to appease other people. And so I want to share some reminders for all of you, including myself actually, because this is important for me too. And if this resonates, please drop a comment, give it a like, and share with those who need it too, because honestly, you don't owe anyone access to you just because you were kind. Kindness isn't consent. Warmth isn't an invitation. Yeah, we don't owe anyone anything just for being kind or polite. Giving a nice compliment, it doesn't mean I need to say yes to a date. It doesn't mean anything. We're conditioned sometimes. And do you know what? Funnily enough, and I didn't mention this before, I actually brought this up with my mentor when I spoke to her about it. And she said it's the same conditioning, that rape victims will say, oh, well, it's because I was flirting with him. It's because I let him buy me that drink. Or it's because my skirt was too short. It's the excuses that we give to others for their actions. So in this, that is a much more dramatic case, but can you see the difference? We're almost blaming ourselves. Oh, it's because of this. It's because of the way I act or I was dressed. I asked for this. We didn't. It's never consent for anything. We can still say no and it'd be totally okay. Also, we're allowed to change our mind. Even after we say yes to something, for example, with me, even after I've given my number, I'm allowed to then change my mind. I've thought about things, I made a mistake, I'm not actually interested. And actually, when you think about it, this helps avoid the confusion straight on up. Because I could have just gone along with things, but it would have just got harder, wouldn't it? So I nipped it in the bud when I could. Like I say, progress next time is to not get myself into that situation in the first place. But, small steps. And also finally, saying no is a self-love practice, isn't it? Because it's not, you're not rejecting someone. You're redirecting them and you. You're aligning you and them. You're actually doing them a favor, aren't you? Every time that you choose yourself, it's like we're strengthening that frequency within ourselves, aren't we? We're strengthening the frequency that calls in the right experiences or the right men or the right friendships or the right anything. Because when we're saying no to what isn't right for us, we're opening the space for what is. It feels hard in the moment, but it just opens up the space when we're giving our energy away to the wrong things. What is that doing? You're putting your own blocks in the way. You're putting the walls up to what's actually right for you because you're too busy giving. You're too busy opening up to what's wrong for you. So saying no, it is a self-love practice that we need to practice more of. Myself included, like I say. And so, yeah, that is today's share. Short and sweet one. A very small moment for myself, but it was such a massive lesson for where I'm at and the work that I still need to do. And proof that really, even though I felt like it was actually a step backwards, it was still forwards because, the work and the action that I had to take to get myself out of that little experience that I'd created has up-leveled me more so. It's made me progress more so. And so I hope that if you are listening to this and if you have ever said yes when you meant no, just give yourself compassion. Yeah? Give yourself the space. Don't beat yourself up about it. Be aware about it and then work on it. Yeah? Because you're not broken. I'm not broken. You're not weak. I'm not weak. We are simply just unlearning these habits that were pretty much handed to us long before we even realised that we actually had a choice. Yeah? Because whether it's through our upbringing or the conditioning of societal expectations and women and men and, everything, I could go on about that all day. That's an entirely different episode. But it all sits. Does that make sense? There are all these habits and conditioning that have made us who we are. But we do have a choice. And now we're unlearning those. And that takes work and that takes action. And it takes getting uncomfortable, let's be honest, doesn't it? So I hope this spoke to some of you. I hope this has given you the nudge if you're in a tricky situation right now to communicate how you feel. Be honest. And you'll actually be surprised how amazing it feels to give that clarity and to feel that alignment of simply just leaning into who you actually are and leaning away, stepping away from who you are not. Thank you for listening. If this did resonate, please do share it with a friend who needs this reminder as well. Be sure to share it on your stories, give us a like, comment your feedback as well. I truly love hearing from you all. And don't forget to click follow or subscribe to stay up to date on all the future episodes too. And I'll see you on the next episode. I love you all so much.